Oh, fix, what's poppin'? So I want to do a recap on last week. Last week was pretty dope. So I'll do a weekly recap last week. So I called out 5 trades last week. The first trade I called out was a trade on AU. My overall bias was bearish. Um, and what happened was, if you go to the daily, right, we were right around this area in here. I'm not gonna rewind it, but you go to the daily. What you saw was this level right here that had been rejected. On the weekly, we had this big engulfing on the weekly. And then I was like, all right, well, if the weekly closes like that, I think that we're going to be able to drop. And you go to the 4 hour, we had all these rejections. Price came up, rejected again. And what happened is price created this channel right in here. And so I was just waiting for that channel to get broken out of. And then it did get broken out of. And we had this strong engulfing out of it. So I said, okay, I'm going to take sells when price comes back in there, and I'm just going to target down to here. So I got stopped out. Went a little bit in profit, but then it got stopped out. And then what I thought was going to happen was I was like, okay, well, let's redraw this whole channel that it has, right? Overall, I think that we're going to be able to go bearish. But I was like, right now, we're not. So it was right at this point right here. I was on the 1 hour, and I was like, well, let's take a smaller trade just up to this area up here. Let's take a smaller trade and be able to eventually sell off for bigger sells. So I had like a buy in there. Stop loss was like right here, something like that. I called it out. It was this. Called it out right here. And then price eventually just dropped and stopped me out. So that happened. So then I was like, all right, well, start off the week with 2 L's. It's not the best, but whatever. So then the next trade was on UJ. And what happened on UJ was pretty dope. UJ was very, very good. Start off on the weekly. What I saw on the weekly was I saw price was in this bearish channel, and it was kind of starting to get more weak and choppy. Yeah, we had all these engulfings, but it just wasn't moving as fluid as this and this and this. And then it rejected this previous weekly low, went to the daily. It was like, saw it push up, created a higher low, pushed up again, created another higher low, rejected this level, pushed up again. And I believe the trade was this on the 4 hour. We broke out of this level on the 4 hour. And if we go, we look, push up, higher low, push up, higher low, push up, higher low, push up. And then we had resistance, 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 resistance. And I was like, all right, well, if we get this retest right here, then we can take price to the next high, right? So I had buys right in this area. What was it? Buys in this area, 132.74. So 132.74, and then my stops were down here somewhere. And then my biggest target was, where was my stops? 132.19. 132.19. And my biggest TP was a 1 to 3. It was this next level up here. I had a 1 to 2 also, and then a 1 to 3 for the final target. And the price eventually got all the way in there. And we dubbed the trade, right? And right now, who knows? What I'm looking for right now is maybe price. If price decides to maintain this, I'm not going to look for buys right now. If price decides to maintain this level right now, that'd be great. I'd be looking for price to break above this and then get another break or retest and continue higher. I think based off the weekly, I think that we can continue higher, but I'm going to need price to do that first. Or it could just completely tank back down to here and then maintain this level. Who knows? Now, so that was a 6% trade that I called out. The next trade was AU. And I didn't actually call this out, but I did call out the area that I was looking for trades to play off of. So this was the whole area right here. And I put it out. I said, well, price might be able to play off of this. You know, if you go to the daily and the weekly, you can see why I'm looking at that big strong push. Price came back up, failed to create a higher high. Lower high was created. Strong push. We have this strong level right here. Price came back up to retest it, and then I mean, look at that level. You know, if we extend it all the way back, it's a pretty strong level. So I said, okay, well, if price can come back in here, reject, and it did, and you would have been able to catch sells right in this area, but I didn't actually call it out, so I didn't write it down in the weekly profits. Now GU was also a pretty dope trade. If we go to GU, I called out sells right here, took it down, hit the 1 to 2 to the T, and then turned around. Now GU was the same thing. On the weekly, we had price come back up to this previous high up here, created an evening star for that previous high, and then this big drop. Price came back up, another big engulfing, and then it just broke out of this bearish channel on the 4 hour and retested it, and that was it. That was the whole reason why I took the trade. Very, very simple, nothing to it. Just break out of a channel after showing me that we're gonna go bearish. Took the sells, and to be honest, man, my stop loss is pretty big. But like I've been saying recently, like I'd rather have a smaller risk reward and a bigger stop and get the trade rather than have a smaller stop and a bigger risk reward and get stopped out for no fucking reason, you know? I used to just have my stops like that. Like I want a 1 to 4, I want a 1 to 5, so I'm gonna have small stops. But through what I found, you get stopped out a lot more from having smaller stops rather than giving it space to go where it wants to go, because it's never guaranteed that it's going to play off of this. You know, you could say, okay, well, I think it's going to play off this level, but it's never guaranteed. And if I would have did that, I would have got stopped out. So that was the GU trade. The next trade I called out was a NZDU. Is this the one? Yeah, it was a NZD USD trade, right? Now, currently I'm in sales on NZD USD, but I'll break that down after. So when I saw an NU, the same thing, man, you know, because I'm trading all these pairs that correlate, it's going to be the same type of shit. On the weekly, you see price had this rejection here, here. Not last week, a few weeks ago, it created this big weekly engulfing, right? Wiped out all that price action. So that's a strong sign that we're going to go down. And then price came back up to this level. Look what it did. Rejected it multiple times. It wouldn't go. Big daily candle broke through. And then we had this beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 daily candles created a support, and it broke through that. That's almost a guarantee that when it comes back up, you can see that drop. It was one of the most beautiful supports I've ever seen. It was so nice. So then I was like, okay, well, when price comes back up, my actual entry was 62995. So I was like, when price comes back up, I want to take sales. So my entry was right there. Stop loss was 63245. 63245. That was a trade, and then first target was 1 to 2, second was 1 to 3, and it hit both of those, coming down to these previous lows over here. Probably could have obviously could have went farther, but those were the trades, and that was it. You know, I mean, if you just want to go through all the confirmations, you could say, well, on the weekly we had a weekly engulfing, a bearish engulfing. We had multiple rejections on a resistance on the weekly. That's 2 on the daily. A daily lower high, that's 3. A daily trend line, that's 4. Breaking a retest of this daily support and resistance, that's 5. And then, you know, you can just keep going with the confirmations. But it was a very simplistic trade, just paying attention to what price is really telling you on the higher time frames, and then going down to the lower time frames to get your entry. And you could do it on the 1, you could do it on the 30, the 15, whatever you want to do. I just prefer doing it on the higher time frames. It's easier for me. But my actual support resistance was drawn up like that. And I drew it up like this because I want to get the majority of the support resistance in the area that I want to enter. So I'm not going to do it like this because this is 1, 2 touches on this level. If I go like this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on this level. So it's a big difference, and it makes a big difference when you're taking a trade. So that was the trade. That was it. Now, the trade that I'm in, Now on NU, I just called out right now. First of all, last week, 12.5%, right, on all those trades. 2 losses on AU, the UJ, GU, and NU trade, 6, 4, and 6%. So 12.5%. Called out for free, completely for free. If you would have taken these trades, you could have made 12.5% on your account completely for free, which is crazy. Now, the trade I just called out right now on NU, we're following the same bias, right? Because this is the next week. So still weekly bearish, daily bearish. Now, what I saw, this is going to be a little different because it's not on the 4 hour. But what I saw was price, big drop, lower high, big drop, came back up to this level. And now what I saw is price rejected it once, twice, 3, 4, all these times. And then we had this big, strong engulfing that pushed down. Now I just put my sell limit right here for when price came back up to this level. My stop loss is going to be above this high. And I have 2 TPs set out, a 1 to 2 and a 1 to 3. So you could take it right here, or right here if you want. I'm going to go probably in the middle. I'm going to take it out around a 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5. And then that's going to be my trade. A little bit in profit right now. But yeah, it's still definitely doable if you want to take the trade. Called it out 17 minutes ago. But yeah, that was all the trades for the week. And the main thing that I've been learning, not the main thing I've been learning, the main thing I've learned over the years that I've been trading is to make it as simplistic as possible. And if you go back through all my videos and you look at everything I've done, you can see that I've changed my strategy a million times. And the thing that I always go back to is the shit that is the most simplistic and most duplicatable thing to do. And those trades that I called out that made 12.5% last week, 3 wins and 2 losses that I called out completely for free, it was the most simplistic and most duplicatable shit you can do. It's very easy, doesn't take any time, it's all in the higher time frames. And to make that amount a percentage on my account, I probably spent a total of like 20 minutes last week trading. So if you have, imagine if you have a $100,000 account, you could have made $12,000. If you have a $1 million account, that could have been $120,000. If you have a $1,000 account, that could have been 120 bucks. Doesn't matter. But 12.5% is a lot to make in a week. And to do it with the most simplistic possible way, I mean, it doesn't get better than that, man. And it took the tiniest amount of time for me to do. So in this trade, I saw it right when it was happening. I got lucky. I could have missed it. But yeah, I mean, it might play out. It might not. But if I do lose, I'm going to lose 2%. So I'm up 12% last week. I'll still be up overall 10%. Right? If you took all these trades, doesn't matter. You're not going to be scared. So that's it, man. OFX out.